Let's celebrate the tripling of your sales. Hello and welcome to the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. This is your home on the web for free, no BS, no hype, straight talk on what it takes to grow a business, to improve your sales, to do marketing better, to have the motivation to get up every day and slay the dragons, to get it done, because every day we do have our own dragons. Even though things may appear to be beautiful and wonderful and all bells and Tinkerbells and unicorns and rainbows, we all have things that we're grappling with, okay? Just get up, stay the course, fight the good fight. You know what? 2 steps forward and 1 step back. It happens. Just keep going. I always say you cannot climb a smooth mountain, okay? You've got to have the setbacks and the obstacles, the nooks, the crannies, the ledges to put your fingers on and your toes on so you can hold on, get your strength, and go back up. Now, along those lines, I'd like to bring you tools, things that you can use to grow your business, free tools, affordable tools. Some are expensive, but hey, it's all relative as long as there's a positive ROI. But I want you to check out what's going on over at Nimble. I've gotten to know John Ferrara. He was on the Sales Podcast a while back as well. He was the founder of Goldmine, one of the early, the leader in CRMs back decades ago. And now he's back with his social CRM. You need to check it out. So if you visit the Sales Podcast /Nimble, you can get a free trial, and you will want to pay attention to what he's doing. I met John for lunch a week and a half ago on the 23rd, October 23rd. And it was my first time meeting him face-to-face. And he is as energetic as a 20-year-old dude hanging out in Silicon Valley inventing new stuff. John's got a good team right there in Santa Monica. And the way that his tool works across any browser, on any platform, it pulls in the name of the person that you're looking at, their record. It'll pull them out of email. It'll pull them from their LinkedIn profile. I mean, it's amazing. Then you can add them as a contact, as a lead, as a hot prospect. You can rate them, to notify yourself like how often you want to get back in touch with them. And it is super affordable. So please check that out, thesalespodcast.com /Nimble. And now let's talk with the guy that literally invented the video sales letter, John Benson. John Benson, creator of the Accelerator and digital publisher. I mean, you've only helped sell $1.3 billion. I'm letting you on the show. Usually $2 billion is the cutoff, but you were referred highly, so I'm letting you on. So you better behave today, all right?
I'm going to try, Wes. I can't promise anything, but I'll try.
All right. I will hit delete at any moment. So my finger, I'm itching. So be on your best behavior, man. Hey, welcome to the Sales Podcast. How are you?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for taking the time. I mean, that is, I knew you did a lot of business, but man, I did not know you helped that much. But for those that don't know you, would you mind take a minute or two, kind of tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and we'll dive down the rabbit hole?
Sure. I was born on a small island in the West Indies, and no, I'm kidding. I wasn't.
Hey, I was born a poor shepherd boy.
I mean, my bio years ago circulated the internet and became kind of viral. So because it was completely all lies, but it was pretty funny. So for those of you who don't know me, that's awesome. I created the video sales letter, or the VSL, quite by accident. It wasn't some stroke of marketing genius, but it ended up being. Right now estimates are about $15 billion a year in revenue created from that. But my customers, for sure, that I know of, and the number is actually much higher because these are just the people that I know of, which is literally a fraction of the customers, is about $1.3 billion in revenue right now from going through this course and using this technique that I pioneered. So that's my claim to fame from an internet marketing perspective. I started in fitness in 2004. With the release of a book called Fit Over 40 that became, at that time, one of the biggest books on ClickBank. And then the Every Other Day Diet, which became really huge because of video sales letters, and it kind of steamrolled from there. So I started in fitness and ended up being known as a copywriter, which is kind of strange because I didn't start in the copywriting world, but that's where we are now. And I've just released a book on email marketing, which is going to be pretty cool. I think if people can get past the non-censored version of it. So uncensored, non-censored. I'm a copywriter using words that don't exist. The uncensored version.
Hey, that means you're a good copywriter.
That's right. That's right. We're terrible spellers, horrible grammar, absolutely terrible.
Well, but, we can make up our own word. Just say, I think they call it Seussing after Dr. Seuss, right? You make up a word and it just fits and people know what the heck it means, even though they've never seen it before.
Right. We had a president that was really good at that, misunderestimation.
Strategery.
Strategery.
All right, so you backed in to creating something that has helped people sell billions. Well, I mean, imagine what you could do if you actually planned something, huh, John?
Planning something. Let me think about that.
Let me look up that word, plan. To plan, to pre-plan, to think ahead. Nah, that sounds like work.
Yeah, entrepreneurs are horrible at that. We're really good at figuring out what works and then immediately stop doing it and do something else.
So people might ask, what do you mean a video sales letter? I mean, is that like an infomercial? I mean, Jerry Lewis had a telethon for years. You didn't invent selling by video. What the heck are you talking about?
That's a great question, and it's one that I continually forget to answer in webinars, and I've been reminded to do that. So a video sales letter in this particular, what's called the 3X format, 3X VSL, it's 3X Accelerator now. 3X because it was tripling conversions whenever we used it against normal sales pages. That's why I got its name. It's not porn. But what that is those annoying, according to you, probably according to most marketers, but very effective tools that you see where you're reading every word on the screen off of a PowerPoint slide and there's no graphics. There's just someone talking to you. I started that with using NLP highlighting and embedding NLP phrases across a series of slides. And it ended up being extremely hypnotic. The slides moved relatively fast, and there's all sorts of different ways to do this now. But it basically creates a slight bit of a hypnotic state, an induction state that helps people become more receptive to the message. And, of course, no one can scroll to the bottom of your sales page and see your pitch. So it got started as a way to sell. It's kind of info selling. And what I mean by that is you're selling through giving information. You're teaching people something. And so the first 15 minutes of a video sales letter, if it's done well, is usually very tutorial based. It's teaching someone something they don't know. And so if you go to a typical presentation, seeing words on the screen, you're used to seeing that. But we've just perfected that art and science and just tweaked it into oblivion and came up with a formula, the five steps that we use on every video sales letter. And that was put into software that auto generates the copy for people based on what they select. And it's all copy that I've written. So you actually have to do the work, of course, but to change what's pertinent to you. But it's using scripts that we know work. And it's not a script maker. It's actually using things based on an algorithm, and it's also pulling out. It's a really cool little system. But at the same, when you're learning, as you're going, you're watching like these little videos on every single slide so that you understand the psychology of why you need to establish scarcity or why you need to build what's called the nightmare story. And it teaches you the formula on how to do that. And as you're doing it, you're creating your PowerPoint slides or keynote slides as you go along. So when you're done with the course, you're done with the VSL.
Oh, gotcha.
Pretty freaking cool. Yeah.
So 5 steps to 3X. Man, I'm so confused. All these numbers. Can't you make it even simpler?
Yeah, there's one thing you need, a video sales letter.
One thing, it's like, remember Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
Sure. Yeah,
that teacher, I only have one question. He's like, oh, phew, in 27 parts.
27 parts, that's right. I love that movie, man.
All right, so a video sales letter. So you said that kind of quickly, but it's taking, basically somebody speaks, you get it transcribed, and it's just the text going across, like page after page.
Right.
And that's what you're saying. That's what you really help perfect.
Well, it's a specific way of doing it. So, yeah, I mean, obviously people were using PowerPoint presentations, but no one reads a PowerPoint presentation word for word. And
oh, yes, they do.
Well,
and they're terrible, but
no
they
one
do
good.
It.
Yeah, no one good. And a PowerPoint presentation has, a background image and like bullet points. And video sales letters I stripped all that away and just created a way to do this where it was just words. And I started off with I come from a background of NLP and psychology, so I started with an induction. And I started right off the bat with like either a major promise or putting someone into imagination state. So, imagine if you could lose weight eating the food you enjoy. What would that look like for you? How would you feel? Those kind of things. And you're seeing those, that's 3 slides. What I just rattled off would be 3 slides. So there's like 5 words on a slide. So the slides are hypnotic. They're going faster. The PowerPoint slides can be on screen for like minutes. That's a terrible way to sell something because people's attention span is too short. But what's going on here is that you're being, and this is very, very ninja stuff. I call it samurai because I think ninjas are, well, I won't use the word what I use normally in public, but I think they're wussies. It sounds like wussy, only it's spelled with a P. But ninjas are not my thing. Samurai is my thing. So this is a samurai technique that I teach. And the reason why I think it's so samurai is because it's hearkening back to when you were a child and when you were being read a bedtime story. At some point when you grew up, at some point like maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, whenever you started learning how to read and started you actually started reading along with your father or your mother or whoever was reading you the bedtime story. And a lot of people had that experience. And so what I did is the safest that you could possibly feel in your entire world, entire life was that moment. So if I can eliminate a fear psychologically, it's obviously way under the radar, of the lack of safety that people feel on a sales page. They don't feel safe. No one feels safe. But you need to feel safe to click the buy button. You certainly need to feel like it's a safe site. But beyond that, you need to feel like this person understands me. And so I just drew from a lot of psychology, marketing to a lot of women, writing for a lot of women, and understanding their need for safety is a huge, massive psychological need, and just kind of tailored that into the presentation. So it's like being read a bedtime story, only you're selling something. And it's really kind of interesting because it started a whole wave of doing this, and that started the whole doodle art thing, which became really huge, and animation, which became really huge. And you can use the same principles on just like with a video camera pointing at you and you talking. It's just nowhere near as effective. We've tested this so many times, it's ridiculous. And it's just not as effective because, again, you're reading the words and hearing them at the same time. And it's impossible not to pay attention.
Gotcha.
That's the key. You can window out. I mean, a lot of people will window out statistically of any page. But if you're watching that video sales letter, you can't help but pay attention because you've got your visual and your auditory sensory going crazy. And unlike a typical video where you're looking at somebody's face and you're going, they got weird hair. Oh, wow, she's got a pretty smile or whatever. There's nothing to judge. That's why there's hardly any graphics or pictures. Right. I use pictures only like if there's a before and after picture, if there's, here's a picture of my house, if I'm doing some sort of make money online thing. But that's it. And even then, sometimes I don't do that. Even then, I can argue with someone saying you shouldn't even show a picture of your house. You can just say, like, picture right now, and I'm going to ask you to do this, Wes. Imagine right now what a mansion on the Malibu Bluffs would look like. Can you picture that?
I can.
Well, that's where I live.
Very nice.
So now here's what's interesting. What you're picturing may be nicer than my house. It may not be as nice as I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Because, and this is what I teach people, let the audience, let your prospects' imagination do the selling for you. Much more powerful technique than you can ever muster by selling. You can't talk someone into, and this is the last thing I'll say about this. Video sales letters work on the principle that you don't talk someone into buying something. That's coercion. And I don't like coercion. I like compelling. I like to compel someone to do something. And you compel someone to do something through the clever use of stories and rapport building, which is all taught inside the Celebrator course. That's I think why people have made so much money is because they've been taught the basics of storytelling. And what I just did in a couple of seconds put you and everyone listening to this, you were immediately able to picture something, even if you've never seen Malibu, if you've never been to Malibu.
Right. Well, knowing that you're on a mansion in Malibu and I'm in a trailer out in Hemet, now I know why you made us do this remotely. Why don't you let me over, man? I got some nice bib overalls. I mean,
sure, man. Bring the barbecue.
I shower on the second Monday of every month, whether I need one or not. I mean, I'm pretty dang presentable.
That's discipline, man. That's discipline.
So this is interesting because most people are terrible at sales, they're terrible at marketing, and they're terrible at telling stories. Yep. So you're hitting the big three. I always say, facts tell, stories sell. And it sounds like you're hitting on all the hot buttons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Those are the three biggies. And the key thing here to understand, and I think if you're listening to this and you're a newbie, or you're someone that's just kind of struggling to make ends meet online, the most important bit of advice I can give to anyone is perfect your pitch and you'll get rich. It rhymes, yes, I know. And I don't like rhyme usually as a poet. I don't like to rhyme. But that is true. You perfect your pitch and you get rich. And the pitch is three things. It's not – people think of a pitch as, hey, buy my stuff. Here's why you should buy my stuff. It's on sale. That's the close.
Unless you're from Jersey, and you buy my stuff or I slam your head in the hood of the car.
That's right, right? Yeah. You're going to buy my I would actually do the real New York accent, but again, I don't know if this is a family-friendly show or not. But so you've got there's actually five components, but five of them are not. There's two of them that are not directly related to the pitch. The three most important elements of the pitch is you must have a big idea. Your idea must seem big. And what I mean by that is that you must have a new mechanism, some new way of doing something old. And here's what's very interesting about this. It can be something completely known and understood in your industry. I made a fortune off of a book, the book called The Every Other Day Diet, by inventing a term called caloric staggering. If you Google that now, you'll see it all over the place. People just started using it left and right. It's a meme that I started. It's a trademark term. What is it? Actually.
Caloric what?
Caloric staggering. All it means is you stagger your calories. You don't eat the same thing every day. And this is not a new concept. This has been around for ever since I've studied nutrition, I've understood that cycle calories, bodybuilders, and where the background I come from is bodybuilding and fitness. We always do this. We're getting ready for a show or whatever, getting ready to get really lean. You stagger calories, and that's so your body doesn't know, it can't figure out. It doesn't know quite what to do with the food you're eating. So you keep your thyroid high, you keep losing weight. There's a lot of other things to keep leptin high. But anyway, the point is that when you do, I coined that term, and it sounded completely new. I said the reason why you've never heard anything like this before is because there's a concept that I created and proven called caloric staggering. Well, I created the concept. There's a mechanism that I created called caloric staggering. Well, I created that because I trademarked the term. I didn't come up with the idea of caloric staggering. I said, in fact, the roots of caloric staggering go back all the way to the 1960s. But so the point is that I created that term and I keep using it. It's like a golden thread throughout the entire video sales letter. So that's the one big idea. And here's what's really cool about that. Using caloric staggering, you can eat your favorite foods and still lose weight. That's why every diet you've tried so far failed, because it didn't implement this one new mechanism. So everyone out there listening right now, if you have a book or a product, there's something inside your book or product that you know really well, because you've seen it 1,000 times, that other people in your industry go, oh, yeah, we know about fill in the blank process or fill in the blank technique. Just remember that when Budweiser came out with Beechwood aged beer, remember that slogan? Mm-hmm. Beechwood aged. Well, all beer is, or most beer is. They just said it. That's all they did. It's Beechwood aged. They didn't say they were the only beer that was Beechwood aged, but that was their really big idea. That was it. And people were like, oh, well, that must mean it's something special. They didn't even tell what it is, So what is your really big idea inside your component? So that's like component one, find the big idea and say, there's one thing that you're missing, and this one thing is what's caused all the failure and struggle and pain that you've experienced when it comes to getting blank, whatever that is. Getting more girls, getting more money, getting more, whatever the case, whatever you're selling. There's one idea, and you can find it. I have exercises that I walk people through to do that. The second one is a really killer rapport story. And you have to tell a story that relates to your listener. The story must preferably be about you. And preferably be rather embarrassing. I call it a nightmare story. And I go through the formula inside Celebrator to tell exactly how to tell a great nightmare story. And if you don't have one of your customers most certainly has one. And you can just take an avatar of your customer. Like you could say Jane Doe. I wouldn't use that name, but you could say Jane had this really terrible blah. She went through this horrible experience, and look where she came out. I mean, I was just listening to a story the other day about a guy who was struggling to be a wrestler, and the guy tells the story. He goes, "Yeah, he was just his mom said, well, you might not be a good wrestler, but I'm sure that, God's created you for a reason. And you've got a purpose in life. Just hang in there. But he was really determined. And he ended up becoming like one of the best wrestlers in high school. And then he won the all high school district or whatever it is. I don't keep up with wrestling. And in his senior, I think he went like 137-0, like never lost.
Wow.
Never lost. And he kept going, and he got to college, and he started getting his butt kicked, right? Well, he decided to work twice as hard and ended up his senior year undefeated and got on the Jay Leno show. And that's all really incredible, especially when you find out the guy only had one leg. So this guy could tell a hell of a nightmare story.
Right.
Can you imagine? If he did a course on how to wrestle, and he just started off by saying, you could just imagine my horror when it was a freak accident. I looked down and my leg is being mangled in this machine. And it's like my whole life so you could just hear the nightmare story already, right?
Right.
But what a pitch. So now you don't have to be that extreme. I have a great nightmare story for fitness. Most people have, like, for example, Wes, you probably have a story where you weren't as successful as you are right now, right?
No, I was just pretty much, I even had the tattoo when I was born. It was a birthmark. It said the Sales Whisperer, and it was just pretty much dominated.
Yeah, that was it. Right out of the gate. Yeah. So telling the story of like your worst possible close, like the worst sales experience you've ever had. And so what you do with this is you automatically make anyone listening to you go, oh, wow. If that guy can do it, I can do it. And also I really relate to him. But people misunderestimate, just kidding. People really do underestimate the power of rapport. And then the third thing is you have to have a really killer sales page. And that's where the video sales letter comes in. So those are the three things inside a really killer close, and that's where the video sales letter comes in, is you have to have a close. Right. You have to have a way to say, okay, now that I've convinced you of this logical argument, here's why not taking action is against your integrity. And that's really the samurai close aspect of what goes on inside Accelerator. It doesn't coerce someone to do something. It simply says, oh, you've already told me by listening to this that you agree with X, Y, and Z. Therefore, the only congruent answer to stay in alignment with X, Y, and Z is to purchase a product like this. Now, you can say like this. You can say you can purchase my product or somebody else's product, but you need to take action on this. And I believe I've got the very best product out here, and here's why. But no one cares about your product until they care about you.
Right.
And that's what this course is about. That's what my claim to fame has been about. So.
Okay, so here's a crazy question. Mm-hmm. I'm on your Accelerator page, and it is not a VSL. That's
right. That's our front end page, because we don't send for the price range of video. Video sales letters have a limit on what they can do price range wise. However, This is what's really cool. Check this out. I'll send you to another page that does have the video sales letter. And it's kind of cool because instead of using a typical video sales letter that says, look below this video right now, press the button, order now, because this is a multi-$1,000 program, because we actually hold you by the hand. There's actually live coaching. A video sales letter, by the way, if you hired me to write it, would start at $100,000 plus royalties. So we, copywriters of my caliber we're expensive.
Right.
So, even a B-level guy is going to be like $30,000. So, spending $2,000 or $3,000 for a video sales letter is like a drop in the bucket. But it's a very serious marketing course. This is not something you're going to go through and go, oh, I'm going to go through this in an hour. No. This is going to be something that's going to take you several weeks to get through. And that's okay. We're going to hold your hand through the entire thing. So in order to understand that, we just put up a really pretty front page that says, look at all this glowing testimonials that we have.
Right.
And we do. We've got like 400 of them or something like that. And then what we do inside the sequence is we say, hey, let me tell you step one of the video sales letter process. And it's all me on video plus video sales letter.
Right.
And it goes through like that. And then the close is the close of this is just, it's like 18 minutes of nothing but text. And it closes a $3,000 product. Yeah. So if you have a typical product, where I say typical product, between $7 and $97, even up to $297, $397, you can sell straight with the video sales letter without a problem. If you have over that, you either use a video sales letter that goes to an acquisition form. Say, fill out the form to see if you qualify. We're actually testing call centers as well, or you can just say, you can either call center acquisition form, or take an email addressing. That's the worst way to do it. You want an acquisition form is your best way to do it. Gotcha. So we have in other words, we have a thread that we put people through. Our front face is accelerator.com, so they can hear about it.
Yeah, very cool. So how did you back into this? That's what you opened up with. How did you accidentally find this very powerful method?
It's going to sound like one of those BS marketing stories, but it's the complete truth. I was struggling in YouTube. I was in fitness at the time, doing nothing but fitness. I had this book called Every Other Day Diet. It was converting at under 1%, and I was not a copywriter. I was trying to mimic what I thought copywriters would do. I didn't study any books on copywriting. I was kind of lazy. But I understood psychology, understood NLP, and I got the gist of what I wanted to convey. And I thought, what if I just did something really crazy and wild? And I didn't want to do a video that day because the Dallas Cowboys, which is my football team, which won last night, thank you very much.
They came back from being a little under, weren't they?
Oh, they were way under. Should never have won that game. That was not an interception, not an interference call in the end zone. Sorry, New York fans. But yeah, we've gotten plenty of bad calls against us. So, but the point is that I was, Cowboys were in the playoffs at the time, and I used to play football. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to shave, keeping the superstition alive, right? Because that's what our big thing was. We don't shave before a game. And that, by the way, got started because chin straps rub your chin raw. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but that superstition of not shaving actually was a very practical thing. It's because it doesn't rub your chin raw.
Right.
So anyway, I wasn't shaving, and I didn't shave for like a week, right? It was coming up, so it was a Saturday night, and I had to do a video, and I was having dismal success on YouTube. I mean, I was making like 3 or 4 sales for every YouTube video I'd send out, and I had a list. Okay, so I had a list at the time, I think, of 30,000 people, and still,
oh my gosh,
yeah, still making no sales. And I was doing these videos that took like 10, 12 hours to produce because I was doing this, like cool animation stuff and of course, talking head videos and all that. And I just said, yeah, screw it. I just don't want to do this. I just, what I'm going to do? I wanted to tell a story. I wanted to tell just a quick story about one of my epic disaster stories. And I said, I'm just going to put this into just a PowerPoint file. And so I just literally typed it into a PowerPoint file and said, so I said, well, I can't hardly put that up at YouTube. That's going to be kind of silly, but, why not? I'll try it. I'm bored. And so I even announced it saying, hey, this is going to look a little bit different because I'm just going to teach you guys this stuff. And the only reason I put the slides up is because A, I didn't want to have just an audio. And B, I knew that when people read and hear something, their retention span goes up dramatically. 68%, I believe, is the number. So I thought, well, at least they'll get the message across. This probably won't make any sales, right? Well, I had 6 times the number of sales when I sent that out. I sold like 20, 30 books. I can't remember. It was something like that, which for me was a huge leap, right? And I thought, okay, well, that's got to be a fluke, right? It's just got to be a fluke. And I talked to my friend Mike Geary, and he goes, yeah, man. He goes, that's a principle that is kind of working. There's another guy that was using PowerPoint slides and doing kind of the same thing on webinars. I thought, wonder if I could combine what I know about psychology and make this a sales letter. So what the hell, I'll try it. And I came up with an 18-minute sales letter, and that's actually very short, by the way, for a video sales letter, and put that up for Every Other Day Diet, and the sales went up 600%. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? I mean, I was highlighting certain words I knew were keywords, and all of a sudden, I went from like being a really bad copywriter to people thinking I'm a really great copywriter. And it was just because now I can write inside that formula. Right. And so that should give you hope if you're struggling as a copywriter that you don't need to be one, especially if you have Accelerator, because it's pretty much done for you as much as it can be done for you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's how that got started. And then my buddy Mike called me up. He goes, hey, I'll pay you $25,000 to write my video sales letter. Mm-hmm. I went, well, that's pretty good money. I can do this like in a day. It's like, because it was I just followed the similar. I had this form that I was following, and I wrote that, and that still is the Truth About Abs video sales letter with my voice still to this very day. It's just gone through animation and all that stuff. But and then next thing you know, Pimsleur calls me, and it just kind of got crazy from there. And I transitioned for a while into being a full-time copywriter, and yeah, so that was it. And I started teaching people how this was working and decoding what I did that was working, because I knew something was working, but I didn't have a formula for it. I didn't have a really strict code for it. So my friend Joshua Pellissier, who owned Dow a Badass, which was a dating product, he was living in this slum apartment in Santa Monica and had no money. Had this complete piece of crap car. I loaned him money to buy a motorcycle because his car was a total piece of crap. And he said, dude, just let me hang at your house. Let me learn marketing from you. And I'll help you organize and tear apart this video sales letter thing you got going, because you've done like hundreds of them now. And they're all over the planet, and you need to be able to teach this stuff. Because Ryan Dice had a course but it was really basic. I taught Ryan and Perry. I went out to Austin and taught both of them how to do that, and then they came out with a product about it. But it was like a very high. You had to understand copywriting. And they were like, okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to know how to be a copywriter. Great. Next step is So I'm like, not exactly going to help people unless they're really good marketers.
Right.
So we decided like we're going to tear this thing apart and give the tools to somebody that can't write copy to save their lives. So that we can make it literally slide by slide formulaic, right, and have it not sound like a formula, because we'll give them like multiple iterations that change. Right. So everything sounds completely different. And that became the first course, and the rest is kind of history.
Are you doing any live training? Like, can people come to your mansion in Malibu, or is it all virtual?
No, we do. In fact, we're getting ready to do our last mastermind of the year. So we have, I have 2 courses that I teach live. One of them is called the Samurai Copywriting Course, which is for people that want to get certified under me to be a professional copywriter. And the second one is just my Samurai Mastermind, which has got guys like Dave Asbury from Bulletproof Coffee. We got all kinds of crazy. Jay Abraham was here last time. A lot of great marketers. A lot of guys in the wellness industry, in the dating industry, in finance. So really intense group of people, and that's limited to 25 people. It's a high-end mastermind kind of thing. So that's the 2 things I do live.
Yeah,
and I do a lot of teaching when people hire me to go out and like spend a day or whatever. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm sure there's a lot of people listening to this that even $2,000 or $3,000 is a stretch. Mm-hmm. What can they do? How should they begin? How do they make some initial sales to get that $3,000 that it's at least affordable that they can put back into your program? What should somebody be doing? Should they try to do this on their own, or are there little things they can do just in their existing websites, or with a call to action, or Periscope, right? When I do a free, talking head, at least get your face out there to build up that initial money to take it to the next level. Are there things that they can do, at a grassroots or beginner's level to even start?
Oh yeah. The things we talked about earlier, those 3 key things. Changing up, getting that one big idea, get the new mechanism, the new way of doing something. Just looking at your product, your sales page, and going, where could I pull something out that would be trademarkable? Is the word I use. It's not a word either, but it doesn't have to literally be a trademark. But it's something that when people hear about you, they know about the so and so.
Do you think people can pull that out on their own, though? Because I'm a big believer in that you can't read the label from inside the bottle.
I agree. Well, that's why. Yeah, we have courses on this.
Because there's you ever watch Mad Men?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows. Yeah.
Yeah, and I pulled up the link while you're talking about the episode where he says it's toasted.
Yeah.
With the cigarettes, they were really struggling on what to do with these guys. The law had just changed. They had to put warning labels on it, blah, blah, blah. They couldn't talk about how the doctors were recommending Camel or whatever.
Right.
And he says, tell me about it. And the guy's like, well, we grow it, but we cut it, blah, blah, we hang it, we toast it. And, Draper pulls out his chalk, it's toasted.
Right.
It's just like Beechwood Age. The guy's like, well, damn, son, everybody's is toasted. He says, but they don't say it.
Exactly right.
But we can't, I'm thinking myself, what could I say? What could I say that's different about sales training from the Sales Whisperer? Can somebody pull this out on their own?
Oh, yeah. First of all, okay, you call yourself the Sales Whisperer, right?
Yep.
Well, that's an ID brand. That is a now you could just take that one thing and you could say, what makes me completely different than any other coach, teacher, mentor when it comes to sales? And I call it the blank principle. I call it the X factor. I call it blah, 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 whatever you can call it. Mm-hmm. And you just define one of the key aspects of your training, one thing that makes you unique. And 57 other people can be doing it. You didn't say they're not doing it. This is what makes you unique to yourself. Okay? So as long as it's not silly, like you say, what makes me unique is I talk about how to make money. That's ridiculous. It's called the money-making principle. That's a really bad hook, right? But what could be really cool is to say, like I talk about selling from the inside out. Mm-hmm. So I call it inside-out selling. What does that mean? I don't know. You can define it. You can say inside out selling. That means most salespeople they talk about coming up to you and they go, hey, I've got something I want you to buy. What I do is I do it from the inside out. I get in the mind of the person wanting to buy something and go, hey, I want to know what you want. And so I'm just making this up off the top of my head, literally. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I just came up with a term, inside out selling, presto. I mean, now I'm a copywriter, granted, but this isn't difficult to come up with when you sit around with your friends going, okay, I've got this way of doing something. Let's say that you teach dogs how to sit or whatever. And I have speaking of whisperer, you're the dog whisperer. And I have a unique way of training dogs. And so ask your friends this question. I'll give you a quick exercise you can go through. Ask your friends to tell you what makes you unique or your product unique to them.
Yep.
Like, what is the one thing about my product that's you will find out. First of all, you'll find out that it's not what you think it is 9 times out of 10, unless it's really awesome, unless it's really obvious. And if it's really obvious, this is easy. If it's not obvious, somebody will say something to you and you'll go, wait, I had no idea. So that little tagline that I said earlier, perfect your pitch and you can get rich. When I said that to one of my coaches, he went, wait, that should be the freaking name of your webinar. Mm-hmm. That should be what you call your webinar. That's the whole idea. And that one little shift in my own thinking went from that actually became the birth of Digital Publisher, the whole birth of like the 3 Ps of marketing, product, pitch, and partners. The whole idea of those 3 things have to go together. So little things like that can change the way that you relay what you have to your audience. But just remember, we live in a soundbite society. And people will listen to you if you tell them there is a reason why you haven't succeeded at blank, at training your dog to sit. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, I call it the Mutt Mentor principle. It could be anything, right? It doesn't matter what it is. And Mutt mentorship, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you inside this video, so just keep watching. And then you just say it could be anything. It could be like something that is unique to you, something that is unique in the system that you teach that maybe 50 other people use as well, but you're just bringing it to their attention. You don't have to claim it even as your own. You can even say, other coaches use this. However, I perfected it to a way that hardly anyone I know has done, or I've used it in a very specific way that's very unique to me, and my customers love it. Mm-hmm. I didn't say anything. There was no claims made there. Yeah, I just said that it was specific to me. So this is where taking that one idea can really make a huge difference. And so when you say something, let me go back to the heart of your question. There are people out there listening right now that don't have $2 or $3 grand to spend on getting a sales page that will make them hundreds of thousands of dollars, so if not more, or can make them that much money. So obviously there's some fuzzy logic in that. One of my great success stories is a guy that literally sold his car to buy my course, mm-hmm. and he ended up sending me. I told him, yeah, you should totally sell your car. I mean, this is like really brazen, right?
Right.
It's like you should totally sell your car. First of all, there's a simple reason why. Sell your car. If it doesn't work in 30 days, you get your money back anyway and go buy another car. There you go. Right. 30 days without a car. I mean, people have lived 30 days without food. You can do 30 days without a car.
Well, however, people have always asked me, because that's a good point, because they'll say, what do you say to somebody when they say, I don't have the money, in sales, and I do this. I say, you know what? That's exactly why I'm calling you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How long have you not had the money? Who else besides you cares? How does that make you feel not have enough money? And then lead them right in, because you got to hit them from an angle they're not expecting, right?
Exactly. And one of my favorites is, if you keep doing what you're doing right now, do you think you'll ever have the money? Mm-hmm. And if they say yes, I go, really? So right now you're making sales? You're making a lot of sales? Mm-hmm. So did you just start making sales like yesterday? Because if you've been making sales for like a month, you should have the money.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, getting people to understand that any business, picture it this way. I'm going to walk in and I'm going to walk into like a Subway, right? And I'm going to buy a franchise. So I walk into a Subway franchise center, and I'm assuming they have one, and I go, I want to have a sub shop, right? And they go, great, okay. Well, it's going to cost $50,000. Well, I don't have $50,000. I mean, just, I don't know, got like maybe $5,000 or something, maybe. And they're not going to go, oh, well, we have this $5,000 version of our sub shop that you can buy. It's a little corner. You can put the mayonnaise on the sub. it doesn't work that way because it's like most normal businesses require cash to build the business. So anyone serious in marketing, not having if they don't have a good sales page, that's equivalent to being a race car driver that you don't spend any money on the engine. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's literally like saying, I got the tires, I got the chassis, I got the guys that are around me, I got the pit crew. The engine, not so good. But hey,
we look good.
We
got stickers.
And by the way, the equivalent of looking good is being a social media whore. I got a Facebook page, I got a Twitter page, I got a this page, I got a that page. It doesn't matter. I don't care how many social media sites you have. Do you have a sales page that works? If the answer is yes, you are wealthy. If the answer is no, you are poor. Right. There is no in between.
True.
So get that really, really clear. That is the most clear that I can make it. And I'm not the only guy saying this. The late, great Gary Halbert said everyone is one sales letter away from wealth. Mm-hmm. So it's the truth. It's just the truth. And that's not like marketing pie in the sky. That does not mean that everyone that buys Accelerator ends up wealthy, although a lot of people do. I had a great success story in Wesley Virgin, a guy that when he first joined, it took him 3 or 4 times to finally get it right. Mm-hmm. He's going through the course. He finally figured out that his product was what needed repositioning, and he slightly repositioned his product, tweaked the name, changed the name, went back through Accelerator, and now the guy's making obscene amounts of money. He's posting his earnings in all the copy pods along with a lot of other people. But the point is that he rolled up his sleeves and he didn't quit. But he understood the value of having a sales page.
Who was that?
Internet marketing, Wesley Virgin.
Yeah, I don't know him.
Yeah.
Look him up.
Fat Dominator, yeah.
All right, so I'd interrupt you. You were talking about the guy, sell your car, you got 30 days, you come back and you can buy your car if it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I actually just opened the loop. I'm glad I'm going to close it now. So the close of that loop was a guy sent me a picture, like it was, I guess it was 3 months later, of a BMW. And so he went from like this piece of crap car to a BMW. He goes, man, that was the best car I ever sold. Best decision I ever made to sell that car. So yeah, it just depends on how much you want it. So what you get from me that you don't get, I think maybe Gary Vaynerchuk, a couple other guys are as blunt as I am when it comes down to this. What you get from me is you don't get a lot of sympathy because the bottom line is you create your own destiny, and if you don't like it, get the hell out of life. It's just not. I don't feel sorry for people. I don't feel sorry for people that won't do the effort. Now, I have tremendous compassion for people who are in the trenches and they're not seeing the success that they want. I guarantee you, it's because something on your sales page is off.
Right.
That's either that or your product is so terrible. Mm-hmm. You're selling a lot but getting a 90% refund. I don't know anyone like that, But seriously, if you have a product or you want to create a product and you want to see success, I hate to say it, the sales page is king. And unfortunately, there's a lot of really bad products out there with really awesome sales pages. And I don't like that. Yeah. But there's a lot of great products out there with lousy sales pages, and they're called the product graveyard. Mm-hmm. That's really where it is. So, yeah.
Would you say most people think their product has to be exponentially better than it really does?
Yeah.
That's what holds them back?
I talk about this in the Digital Publisher podcast about good being the enemy of great, or great being the enemy of good. Good enough, and perfection being the enemy of progress. These are not just catchy little euphemisms and phrases. This is the truth. So my philosophy behind product creation is very simple. Make sure the information is dense, meaning that put it in 10 pages. It doesn't have to be long. Put the best stuff you have in 10 to 20 pages and get it out. Mm-hmm. Perfect it as people are paying you. And what's really beautiful about that is you'll get people say, I love this information. Could you put something in about blank? Oh, hey, you left out this. And you've got your audience telling you what they want. Mm-hmm. Right? Your product does not have to be perfect. It needs to be good enough.
Yep.
Perfect it as you go on. Make that your selling point. Now, this is what copywriters are. We're really good at this. So I'll come along and say, hey, this is actually the beta version of this product. Think of this as the 1.0 version. And the reason why is because I put the most essential stuff in here. It's very short. It's 20 pages long. That's why it's only $19. It's only 20 pages. But you'll be able to read it in literally less than 30 minutes, and you'll be off to the races. And then I want you to tell me what you would like to see in version 2.0, and I'll customize it based on what you want rather than what I think you want. So that's why it's so cheap. After I sell the first 100 of these, it's going to go up to, I'm going to go ahead and, when I get up, the 2.0 is going to go up to $47. But guess what? I'm going to give it to you for free just for being so cool. Mm-hmm. So now you've turned a weakness into a strength, right?
Sure.
That's what you do in copywriting. And that, unfortunately, is what people need the skill. They need that skill handed to them, and the best way to get that, I think, is through courses like mine.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, Mr. John Benson, I will be linking to your digitalpublisher.com. Any parting words of wisdom for our listeners?
Yeah, just one thing. I've given this challenge. I can't tell you how many times. And everyone that's taken the challenge has succeeded. So would you like to know what it is? Wow.
I would like to know what that challenge is.
Yeah, I bet you would. And now, I'm not making this up. Every single person that has done what I'm about to tell you to do, every single person has succeeded. So here's the bad news. Out of 100 people, only 1 or 2 will do what I'm about to say. So remember that guy that said that won the wrestling championship had one leg?
Right.
One of the things that his college coach told him to do was he had to improve his speed. So he wound up running a 9-minute mile. And you're thinking, 9-minute mile, big deal. I could do that. Yeah, he did it on one leg with crutches. Mm-hmm. With crutches, not with a prosthetic. So he was running laps. He was running a mile on crutches. Now, I was on crutches when I had knee surgery for like a week, and it sucked. Now, and I'm sure he was a lot better at it than I was. But I can tell you right now that would be very painful. And so his coach gave him this little mantra that served him well and made him get to where he was, made him succeed so well. And that mantra was simply this. Everything that your coach tells you to do, everything I tell you to do, whether it's 10 push-ups, 10 setups, 100 setups, double the number, and you do that. If you do that, you'll be unstoppable. No one can beat you. Okay. If you'll double everything I tell you to do. Okay, so this comes along that same, oh, God, I have to work at something. Yes, you can't push a button and have outcome success. You can't do that. That if you're wanting that, go to iwantalivein.freakingfantasyland.com. That site is built perfectly for you. But if you do what I'm about to tell you, this will totally make it's a night and day difference. Take a piece of paper, draw a circle on it, and draw a line right down the middle of the circle. And this is your schedule for the next 30 days. All you need is 30 days to do this. Literally, however many hours you work in a day, that circle represents it. If you're an 8-hour-a-day guy or girl, there you go. If you're a 12-hour-a-day, there you go. Draw the line in the middle. And on the left side, write, perfect my pitch and sales copy. And on the right side, write everything else. There's your day planner. There's your schedule for 30 days straight. If you do that, you spend half of your day doing the stuff I'm talking about. And you're going to need some help. You'll probably need a course or two. You'll definitely need a book or two. Because if you just can't just dive into it on your own, you definitely need some help. That's why we offer independent. We actually give private coaching with our services. But you definitely want to do that for 30 days and then do everything else. I have never seen this fail, literally, ever. And that is the secret to doing it. So if you want it really bad, if you want that multi-million-dollar product, or even a multi-thousand-dollar product, if you want to do that, the best way to get there is to do what I just told you.
Right. All right. I am doing it right now.
There you go.
Drawing it on a piece of paper.
Yep.
I'll take a picture of it, upload it with this episode.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, Mr. John Benson, thank you for taking the time away from that ocean view. I thought you may still be looking at the ocean from your Malibu resort as you do this podcast. But thanks for taking the time to come on the show.
You're more than welcome. My pleasure.
All right, man. Have a great day.
You too.
If you want to succeed, find someone who has helped sell over $1 billion worth of anything and then do what they say to do. So draw that circle, perfect my pitch on the left, everything else on the right. Go make that happen. Let me know how things work out for you. Okay, this guy, John, he knows what he's talking about. He understands human persuasion. He understands sales. He understands the difference between compelling versus coercion. I thought that was powerful. Go back and listen to those steps, the big idea, the killer rapport, a really good close. Make sure you have solid sales pages. Make sure you know why people should buy from you. Dan Kennedy always talks about this. Joe Polish, all the great marketers. You must enter the conversation going on in the mind of the prospect, and you have to answer in their mind why you are their number one best choice, including not doing anything. You are fighting sloth as much as anything else, as much as you're fighting any other competitor. So do your sales pages, do your sales videos. Do they answer those questions? Do they compel someone to take action? This is a longer podcast, a lot of great content. I'm looking at my notes. I'm so glad I get to review these things because I listen to them live. I take notes. I go back and I read the notes. I go back and listen to the podcast, and I type the notes up on the blog post, and it just keeps it sinks in for me. That's an added value of doing podcasts. But you can get the show notes on this on thesalespodcast.com/session 157. When you go there, please ask a question or leave a comment. Just let me know that you're there, that you visited, that you got something out of it. And then check out the free resources I give. You will be invited to partake of them. So please do that. But again, thesaleswhisperer.com/session 157. We'll get you the notes. Leave a comment. Look forward to catching up with you on the next episode and online. And as always, remember to sell different.